If you're watching this right now, it's not random. You were called here, summoned by something you can't name but deeply feel. You didn't stumble into this message, your soul led you to it, because you, chosen one, are on the edge, and know what's coming isn't a storm. It's a revelation. The world is on the verge of something massive. Not everyone will notice it, not in fact. 99.99% won't until it slams into their lives like a force they never saw coming. But you've felt it. You've sensed the strange pull, the heightened emotion, the dreams, the signs, the sudden rushes of intuition that don't make sense but feel undeniably real. That's not your imagination. That's signal. That's spiritual code. That's confirmation. You're standing where very few ever get to stand, on the edge between realities. Between the version of you the world wanted and the one your soul came here to become. And that space, that razor-thin line between old and new, it's sacred and terrifying and real. The edge is not a metaphor. It's not an idea. It's a gateway. It's the line where fear dares you to step, and everything that has ever held you back screams at you to stay. But you won't. You can't. What's calling you now is louder than fear, clearer than confusion, stronger than delay. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That quiet detachment from people, situations, and even past versions of yourself. You're not crazy. You're calibrating. You're shedding. You're syncing with your original blueprint. That's why it feels like everything old is crumbling. The relationships, routines, the rules, because they don't fit anymore. And that ache in your chest, that pulse in your gut, that whisper behind your thoughts, it's not anxiety. It's alignment. You're on the edge, and it's sharpening you. Chosen one, this message was never for the masses. It's not for the ones scrolling aimlessly. It's not for the ones clinging to comfort. This message is for the ones who feel the world splitting beneath the surface of the obvious. You are not here to walk with the crowd. You're here to wake them up. Your awakening triggers others. Your clarity disrupts illusion, and your fire, it terrifies every system built to keep people asleep. Let them call you strange. Let them misunderstand. Let them laugh. Because while they play, you prepare. And the truth is, you've already begun. You've felt yourself questioning everything. You've lost people, faced silence, endured betrayals, all to be brought here to this threshold. And now, question is, will you cross? Will you leave behind the old world, the predictable patterns, the half-lived life for what your soul has always known was waiting? Or will you let the noise pull you back? You're standing in the silence before the storm. Not a storm of destruction, but of reconfiguration. A soulquake, a collective tear in the veil of what's false. And those who are tuned in, those who dare to walk toward it, they become the new architects. You are one of them. The path ahead will not feel familiar. It won't always feel safe, but it will feel true. Your heartbeat will recognize what your logic can't. Your body will respond before your mind does. Because destiny doesn't knock, it activates. And your activation has already begun. If something in this message feels like it's speaking directly to your soul, then comment below. I'm ready to cross the edge. Write it with the number 77, the frequency of divine timing and conscious awakening. And if you know someone who's been feeling the same shift, send them this message. This may be the moment they've been waiting for. And maybe you've started noticing just how much of your old life was built on survival. How much of it was shaped by expectations, not intention, by fear, not frequency, by logic, not alignment. You were taught to move fast, to perform, to produce, but never to pause, never to listen, never to feel what your body, your spirit, your truth had been trying to whisper for years. But now the whisper has become a wave, and it's getting harder to ignore. That heaviness in your chest, that restlessness in your heart, That quiet ache when you look around and realize this doesn't fit anymore? It's not depression, Dot. It's disruption. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. Your soul is beginning to rebel against every version of you that was built just to be accepted, Dot, because acceptance without authenticity is a slow death, and your soul didn't come here to survive. It came to signal, Dot, to awaken, Dot, to embody the vibration of something the world hasn't seen yet. And that's why this part feels so strange. You're too awake to play by the old rules, but not yet anchored enough to fully walk in the new ones, Dot, so you float. In between worlds, Dot, in between frequencies, Dot, in between who you wearing, who you're becoming. And that, in between, is sacred, Dot. It's where identity melts, Dot. It's where timelines collapse, Dot. It's where your spirit negotiates with your ego, and your future self begins to rise from the ashes of your past. That's why you can't tolerate certain people anymore. Why old conversations drain you. Why noise feels violent. Because the deeper you go, the more sensitive you become. Not weaker, Dot, wiser, Dot. Your sensitivity is not a flaw, Dot. It's a signal, Dot. It means you're syncing with the pulse of something higher. The edge doesn't make you soft, Dot. It sharpens you, Dot. It strips you down to essence, Dot. And that essence? It's what will guide you when nothing else makes sense. You don't need a 5-step plan. You need presence. You need to listen, Dot, to breathe, Dot, to trust that what you're feeling is not a glitch. It's guidance. You've already begun. You've already said yes in your stillness, in your silence, in your refusal to settle one more time. The path is forming. The frequency is building, Dot. The edge is waiting. And you're no longer who you were when this journey started. Even if you still feel scared, even if you still second-guess yourself, even if the world hasn't seen the change yet, Dot, your soul knows. And that's enough. That knowing, that inner YES, is more powerful than any external proof. You've entered the quantum threshold, where the next chapter isn't written by strategy, but by energetic readiness. And you are being readied. Every time you say no to misalignment, every time you sit with your discomfort instead of distracting yourself, every time you honor the whisper instead of the scream, you're becoming dangerous, Dot, not to others, to every false version of yourself that tried to keep you safe by keeping you small. You are no longer available for almost. You are no longer subscribing to the old stories. You are here, and you are remembering. Not just what you are, but you were always meant to become, Dot. So if it feels lonely, good. That means you're not crowding your process with unnecessary energy. If it feels slow, good. That means you're not rushing into another cycle of unconscious performance. If it feels quiet, good. That means you're finally learning how to hear what only stillness can say, Dot. This is sacred. This is the edge, and it's yours now. You've probably noticed it. Already people are falling away. Situations are dissolving. Desires that once consumed you now feel hollow, Dot. This is not decay. This is the divine clearing space. You are not losing. You are being lightened. Because where you're going, you can't carry what once comforted you. Your next level isn't a reward. It's a responsibility, Dot, and responsibility demands refinement. You've outgrown conversations that echo fear. You've detached from timelines that move in circles. You've stopped explaining you're becoming to people who only understand surviving. That's what the edge does, Dot. Reveals what was always real and strips away everything else, Dot. The old identity you wore like a shield, cracked, Dot. The roles you played just to be loved, expired. The masks you used to survive, melting, Dot. And beneath it all, there you are, unfiltered, uncomfortable, unapologetically awakening. This part of the journey is disorienting. You feel more awake, but also more alone. You see clearer, but speak less. You want connection, but only the kind that doesn't cost your essence, Dot. This is the transition point. The in-between, not who you were, not yet who you're becoming, and it's where most people turn back. They can't bear the silence. They misinterpret the void as punishment. They confuse loneliness with failure. But you stay. You stay even when nothing makes sense. Even when the signs stop showing. Even when your faith is tested in stillness. Because something inside you knows this silence is sacred. It's the moment before destiny. EXHAL. East. Let the world move on its timelines. Let others chase validation. You are no longer available for anything. That costs your peace. Your alignment is your wealth now. Your clarity is your compass. And when the outer world fails to affirm you, your inner knowing whispers, keep going. You're almost through. Chosen one, hear this. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It's birth. You're not being broken down. You're being broken open. And when the pain feels unbearable, when the weight seems too much, that's when you're closest to the shift. You are not cracking. You are releasing what was never yours to carry. The false stories, the inherited beliefs, the energetic cords that tied you to versions of yourself. Long dead, gone, burned off in the fire of your becoming. This isn't self-destruction, it's soul elevation. And you've earned every bit of it. Every sleepless night, every unspoken goodbye, every time you chose truth over safety. Every time you let go, instead of settling. You've proven you can hold the frequency. Now you're being invited to embody it, because what comes next isn't about knowing anymore. It's about living what you've learned. You'll begin to notice how your energy speaks, louder than your words. You'll walk into a space and things will shift. Not because you said anything, but because you're carrying something that can't be ignored anymore. That's the edge. It sharpens you. It makes you undeniable. It removes your need to prove and replaces it with presence. Some will be drawn to you. Some will be repelled. Don't personalize it. You've become a mirror, and not everyone is ready to see what you reflect. Let them react. Let them resist. You're not here to be understood. You're here to activate. To remind. To awaken. To model a new way of being. That's the power of alignment. It doesn't scream. It radiates. And your radiance is not up for negotiation anymore. You no longer need to chase, because you've become the magnet. And what matches your new frequency? It's already seeking you. It's already aligned. It's already forming behind the veil, waiting for one thing, your full embodiment. So breathe, not to survive, to command your space. Walk, not to arrive, but to declare your presence. Speak, not to convince, but to vibrate truth. This is your season of energetic sovereignty. And the only requirement is that you no longer dim. If this feels like your current chapter, say it out loud. Write it in the comments. I no longer chase. I attract through alignment. Seal it with 77 if you feel this truth moving through you. Like this video. Subscribe if your soul says yes. And share this with the one person who's also standing on the edge. They'll know it when they feel it. And maybe you're still carrying the echo of an old self. The one who apologized for taking up space. The one who waited to be chosen. The one who dimmed their knowing to keep the peace. But not anymore. That version of you is fading. And what's rising doesn't wait to be invited. It enters. It claims. It leads. You no longer walk with the question, am I allowed? You now walk with the answer, I belong. Not because the world approved you, but because your soul already did. You've stopped trying to fit into timelines that shrink you. Stopped negotiating with patterns that drain you. Stopped explaining yourself to people who only ever loved the version of you that played small. And that clarity? That's your power now. You no longer second-guess the pull. You trust it, because you've realized something sacred. Intuition is not a luxury. It's a lifeline. And in a world full of noise, your ability to feel is a superpower. You feel it in rooms before words are spoken, You feel it in spaces before energy shifts. You feel it when someone says, I'm fine, but their spirit whispers, help me. That kind of knowing? It's not learned. It's remembered. It's who you were before the world told you to ignore your instincts. Before culture trained you to doubt your inner compass. Before survival forced you to filter your light. But not anymore. You've reclaimed your discernment. You've honored your sensitivity. You've chosen alignment even when it cost you comfort. And that choice is everything. It's what separates the ones who merely awaken from the ones who embody. Because awakening is easy. It can happen in a moment. But embodiment? That's a lifetime of choices. Choices like walking away from what you once begged to keep. Holding boundaries that others call selfish. Sitting in silence when chaos tempts you to react. And trusting that not every closed door is a loss. Some are redirects in disguise. This is the real work. And you're doing it. Even when it's messy. Even when it's quiet. Even when no one's clapping. Especially then. You've stopped measuring your worth by what you produce. You've started anchoring it in who you are when no one's watching. And what you are is unshakable because you've been through the fire. You've faced your own shadows. You've sat with your own grief and didn't run from it. You didn't bypass the pain. You let it teach you, shape you, strip you. And now, what's left is real. Now, you no longer wear masks. You wear truth. And truth doesn't have to scream. It resonates. That's why your presence now speaks louder than your words ever did. Why people feel you before you even enter the room. It's not ego. It's energy. And that energy? It's earned. Every no that scared you. Every ending that freed you. Every rebirth that remade you. It's all encoded in your field now. And the world can feel it, even if it doesn't know what it's feeling. That's why things are shifting faster. That's why you feel the edge between realities tightening. Because the more you align, the more life reconfigures around you. What once chased you now fades away. What once resisted now opens. What once confused you now makes perfect sense. Because clarity always comes after obedience. And you've obeyed the whisper. Even when it made no sense. Even when it cost you comfort. Even when it asked you to walk alone. But you were never truly alone. Your higher self was always leading. Your ancestors were always guiding. Your future self was always waiting for you to become clear enough to remember. You are not here to replicate the past. You are here to rewrite the future. And that future? It begins right now. With one choice, one breath, one yes. So if you feel the shift deepening, if you feel your own expansion becoming impossible to ignore, then stay with this energy. You're not just being changed. You're being called. And everything aligned is already aligning with you. There comes a moment in every soul's evolution when everything goes quiet. No signs. No confirmations. No miracles. Just silence. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is preparing. You, chosen one, are now in that sacred stillness. The breath before the miracle. The space between what was and what will be. And it's uncomfortable, isn't it? You question yourself more here. You second-guess your intuition. You wonder if maybe you misread all the signs. But what if I told you this void isn't abandonment, it's alignment? Because the truth is, your spirit has become so refined, so attuned, so tuned in that the universe no longer needs to shout. Now it only whispers, and it's whispering now through dreams, synchronicities, and feelings you can't explain. Through sudden clarity, through the sense that something is about to shift again. You feel it under your skin. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in the way your reality no longer fits the same. You've outgrown the version of you that played small. You've outgrown the frequencies that kept you tame. And now, you are becoming something uncontainable. Let the world misunderstand. Let them label your silence as distance. Let them question your absence. You are not disappearing. You are deepening. You're learning the language of vibration. You're sensing what cannot be spoken. You're deciphering the codes written between moments, between breaths, between timelines. Because this is no longer about the physical. This is energetic mastery. And energetic mastery doesn't come with applause. It comes with silence. It comes with inner knowing. It comes when you walk away from what still sparkles because you know it's not aligned. That's where you are now. You're learning to choose without needing evidence. You're learning to stay calm while the old world screams because you've stopped looking for validation. You're walking in vibration now. And your vibration? It's not just a signal. It's a sword. It cuts through illusions. It activates truth. It reorganizes energy. That's why some people are uncomfortable around you now. They can't hide behind their masks anymore. Not when your presence makes them feel exposed. You are not here to make others feel safe in their illusions. You are here to be a mirror. And mirrors don't lie. They simply reflect. So, don't dim, don't shrink, don't soften your shine to fit spaces that were never meant to hold. Your job now is not to go back, it's to go beyond. Beyond logic. Beyond control. Beyond comfort. You are not waiting for permission. You are the permission. You are no longer asking, am I ready? You are answering, I'm already becoming. This phase isn't about doing more. It's about being more. Being clear. Being present. Being so aligned that your very existence becomes an activation. Because that's what you are now, an activator. Your energy unlocks timelines. Your decisions ripple through dimensions. Your alignment opens doors others didn't even know existed. That's why the pressure is higher. That's why the silence is heavier. Because what you carry is no longer just personal. It's planetary. The old version of you? It needed noise. It needed feedback. It needed proof. But this version? It walks with conviction. It moves with precision. It knows the unseen is more real than the visible. And because of that, everything that once controlled you no longer reaches you. You've exited the grid of reaction. You've stepped into the frequency of resonance. And now you only respond to what speaks the truth of your soul. Let others chase. You attract. Let others scream. You vibrate. You're not rising with force anymore. You're rising with frequency. And frequency doesn't knock. It magnetizes. So stop asking if it's working. It's already begun. Stop asking. If you're behind, you're exactly on time. Because time no longer moves around the clock, it moves around your consciousness. The more you expand, the more time bends to meet you. The faster your soul aligns, the faster your reality obeys. And what's coming now? It's not just a breakthrough. It's a blueprint collapse. The old paradigm that governed your life is dissolving. And in its place, a higher design is forming, one that honors your truest self. You are not evolving. You are remembering. You are not ascending. You are activating. And the world? It doesn't know what to do with someone like you. But that's not your concern. You didn't come to be understood. You came to stand in your knowing. If this chapter mirrors your journey, speak it into the comments. I'm not disappearing. I'm deepening. Seal it with 77 to affirm that you're aligned with the unfolding. Like this message. Subscribe for more if your soul says yes. And share this with the one person who's standing in the silence, questioning everything. They'll know you sent this from the edge. And maybe lately you've started to realize that your energy no longer fits into the old mold. Not because you've become distant, but because you've become distinct. You're not Isolatinger ascending. You're not Withdraw-vinger refining. And in that refinement, your field has changed. It speaks differently now. It protects you differently now. It selects differently now. You can't force connections that once sparked. You can't stay in spaces that no longer respect your sensitivity. You can't ignore the way your body tightens when something is misaligned. This isn't you being difficult. This is you finally becoming precise. And precision is power. Because now your frequency doesn't scatter. It PIERCE S. It penetrates noise. It disrupts distortion. It cuts through illusion like light cuts shadow. That's why things fall away faster now. Why your tolerance is lower. Why your boundaries have become non-negotiables. You've stopped explaining yourself. You've stopped translating your truth into languages that were never meant to understand you. Because you've remembered, your knowing is enough. Your clarity is currency. Your intuition is your initiation. And that initiation, it brought you to the threshold of mastery. Not mastery of the external, but mastery of the internal. You're learning to hold peace in chaos, stillness in pressure, conviction in uncertainty. This is energetic leadership, and it starts with self-trust. Because the more you trust your calibration, the more life stops testing you and starts responding to you. It's not about controlling the path anymore. It's about calibrating your presence. And when your presence is clean aligned, open magnetosphere, everything changes. People meet you differently. Opportunities find you faster. SYNCHRNACITIES. Increase. Not because you're forcing, but because you're finally matching what was always trying to find you. And now, the only thing left is consistency. Energetic consistency. Choosing clarity over chaos again and again. Choosing peace over pressure and again. Choosing alignment even when fear disguises itself as logic. This is the real frequency work. Not the glamorous kind, but the granular kind. The kind that happens in the pauses. In the no's. You whisper to patterns that once owned you. In the yes. You give to rest even when productivity screams louder. You're not chasing momentum anymore. You've become momentum. You walk into a room and things accelerate. Not because you're trying, but because you are the signal now. You've activated a field around you that others feel even if they don't understand it yet. And that field will only grow. So protect it, preserve it, prioritize it, because the world doesn't need your performance. It needs your presence, and your presence, it's becoming undeniable. There's a reason your world feels quieter now. Not because nothing is happening, but because something sacred is preparing. You're not being ignored. You're being observed. Measured. Refined. By forces far older than this world. And they are asking just one question. Can you hold the next frequency without collapsing? Because what's coming isn't a reward. It's a reveal of who you've become in the silence, of what you've activated through pain. Of how deeply you've aligned beneath the noise. This part of the journey feels lonely. Not because you're alone, but because you're ahead of the collapse, ahead of the curve. Ahead of the collective timeline. You feel the splitting, don't you? Not in politics. Not in media, but in energy. The split between truth and illusion, between safety and sovereignty, between performing and embodying. You can't go back anymore. And that's why it hurts. Not because you want the old life, but because it's still trying to hold on. The patterns. The roles. The temptations to settle. But you won't, because something ancient in you has remembered. A code, a contract, a promise made long before this body ever took its first breath. And now, that promise is being collected. Now, the edge is not asking. It's commanding that you stop playing small, that you stop doubting your knowing, that you stop waiting for someone else to lead you, because you are the leader now. You are the signal, the frequency, the truth walker others have been praying would appear. And no, you won't always feel ready, but readiness isn't a feeling. It's a decision. And every time you obey that inner whisper, even when your hands shake, even when your voice cracks, even when nothing makes logical sense, you choose alignment over fear. That choice, that's what activates timelines. You see, the edge isn't just about who you're becoming. It's about what you're birthing. A new way of leading. A new way of building. A new way of being. Not through strategy, but through frequency. The world doesn't need more performance. It needs presence. And your presence? It's been forged in fire. Every betrayal shaped it. Every loss sharpened it. Every silence sanctified it. That's why your energy hits different now. You don't chase. You command. You don't hustle. You harmonize. You don't force. You flow. That's the kind of leader this new world is asking for. And that's the version of you the edge is pulling forward. Let go of the idea that you need to be understood. Your clarity isn't meant for everyone. Your awakening will trigger many. Some will resist. Some will reject. That's okay. You're not here to be palatable. You're here to be precise. To hold the line. To walk the frequency. To burn so honestly that others remember their own fire. And yes, it will feel like burning. The shedding. The solitude. The slowness of becoming. But it's not punishment. It's preparation. Because you weren't sent here to echo what's safe. You were sent to embody what's sacred. And sacred things move differently. They listen before speaking. They wait before acting. They trust without proof. That's your rhythm now. And while others are chasing their next milestone, you're moving in divine intervals. Let them misunderstand. Let them guess. Let them try to label your silence. You know what you're doing, even if you don't have the words for it yet, because your soul doesn't speak in explanations. It speaks in alignment. And when you're aligned, doors open. People arrive. Provision flows, not because you begged, but because you matched the frequency. You've learned real manifestation isn't about thinking hard enough. It's about becoming clear enough to hold what you asked for. And you're clear now. Clear enough to be magnetic. Clear enough to be discerning. Clear enough to say no when your spirit says not aligned. And that no, it's as powerful as any yes, because it protects your energy. It seals your timeline. It preserves your vision. And your vision? It's sacred now. Not everyone can see it. Not everyone is meant to. But you can. And that's enough. If this message found you exactly where you are, you feel the frequency, not just in your mind, but in your bones, then write this in the comments right now. I choose alignment over fear. Drop A if you know this part was for you. Like this video. Subscribe if your soul said yes. And share this with the one person who's walking quietly, boldly through their own fire. So here you are, standing in that sacred stillness where your past no longer fits and your future hasn't fully formed. It's not confusion, it's calibration. You're not lost, you're in liminal grace. You're not broken, you're breaking through. This is the edge. And it's not a metaphor, it's a spiritual checkpoint, a divine filter, a dimensional pause where only truth can travel forward. You've released who you once were. You've stopped chasing a version of yourself that was never fully yours. You've laid down the costume, the script, the mask, and now there's space. Raw, holy, wide open space. It feels unfamiliar because it is. But it's not empty. It's fertile. It's capacity. Capacity for the next version of you to land. Not through force, but through frequency. This new you isn't being built by performance. It's being summoned by presence. It's not rising through hustle. It's emerging through stillness. You are not here to push forward. You are here to remember your way into alignment. And that remembering? It's already begun. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way rooms feel heavier. The way your body stiffens when you're around certain people. The way once meaningful conversations now feel hollow and loud. It's not resistance, it's refinement. You're becoming precise. Your energy is filtering everything through a higher code now. And that code? It doesn't lie. You're not who you used to be. Not even who you were last week. Because the edge doesn't move in months, it moves in moments. Transformation here is quantum. One boundary at a time. One breath of clarity. One whispered, sacred no to what once seduced you into shrinking. And each no has been a silent roar to the universe that says, I remember. You're becoming undeniable, Dot, not because you speak louder, but because you finally stopped apologizing for your light. And that light? It's ancient. It's encoded. It's disruptive, not by design, but by nature. You weren't made to blend. You were made to break illusion. And illusions are breaking now. Everywhere. See it in collapsing timelines. You feel it in the breath of strangers. You sense it in the ache of your own restlessness. What once thrilled you now feels stale. What once distracted you now feels heavy. Dot. What once made sense now makes you sick. You're craving truth now. Depth, peace, alignment. Not as concepts, but as survival. Because your soul knows this is no longer a season for performance. This is a time for embodiment. And embodiment doesn't whisper. It radiates. Dot, so you stop hiding. You stop shrinking, not you stop bypassing your own. Knowing. You move like you've remembered. You speak like your voice is the medicine. You choose like your energy is the map. Because it is. This moment doesn't ask you to convince the world. Dot. It asks you to commit to yourself, not to your own light, not to your own alignment. Some will feel it and rise. With you. Others will feel it and run from you. Both are correct. Neither are your responsibility. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be a lighthouse. Your light carries codes. And those codes awaken the ones who are ready, not the ones who are curious, not the ones who want comfort, the ones who are ready. So speak when prompted. Move when led. Rest when necessary. But don't dilute. Don't detour. Don't delay. The next timeline doesn't open through planning, it opens through obedience. Obedience not to rules, not to fear, but to resonance. When it feels right, follow it. When it feels heavy, release it. No more negotiating with energy that fragments you. No more entertaining frequencies that disrespect your field. No more selling your soul for scraps of validation. You are whole now. You are holy now. You are ready now. Not ready to impress. Ready to embody this edge. It doesn't want your strategy. It wants your surrender. It doesn't ask for proof. It asks for presence. And when you show up fully, even trembling, even unsure, the ground forms beneath your feet. You've seen it before. That moment you said yes, with no logic and everything aligned. That time you left something toxic and something sacred met you in the silence. That's the edge. It's not the end. It's the entrance. If this part of the message activated something in you, even just a flicker, comment below. I walk the edge in full alignment. Seal it with 77, a number of divine synchronization and quantum activation. Like this message. Subscribe if your soul said yes, and share this with someone whose journey mirrors yours. Their leap may begin with your invitation. And now lean in a little deeper. You're not here to survive your awakening. You're here to embody it. You're not here to rehearse your truth. You're here to remember it. You're not here to ask, what if? You're here to affirm, I am. You are no longer the echo. You are this frequency. You are no longer the seeker. You are the signal. You are no longer the follower. You are the flame. And now the universe is watching you. Not to test. To respond. Because frequency doesn't beg. It attracts. You're moving differently now. Not to arrive, but to declare. You walk like you've already become. You speak like timelines. Respond to your voice. You breathe like every inhale writes anew. reality, because it does. You're not late. You're not missing anything. You are the moment. And the moment is ripe. So let the world catch up if it must. You're not waiting anymore. You're calibrating forward. You are no longer becoming. You are, and this is only the beginning.